It was a dark evening, cold, silent, illuminated only by the few dim lanterns scattered along the familiar village road. I was walking with a close friend, passing the bus stop, when we suddenly noticed it, a huge dog, disproportionate, sitting inside as if it were a cursed guardian. It wasn't an ordinary dog. Its massive, bloated body seemed to pierce the darkness, and its presence stirred a deep sense of unease. My friend approached it without hesitation, but I stopped, sensing that something was about to happen. Then I heard a strange hum, as if the wind was slowly approaching, even though the air stood still. From the side, just above the ground, appeared a dog's head, enormous, severed from the rest of the body, yet somehow still alive. Its empty, glassy eyes flickered with cold light, and from its gaping mouth, blood poured out, as if it were holding its shape in the air like a crimson veil. Every slow, relentless movement of the head sent a shiver down my spine, and I saw more heads scattered around the ground, severed, blood-stained, motionless, abandoned like grotesque trophies on the cold earth. Only this one, with eyes full of darkness, kept moving, relentlessly approaching, trying to bite into every piece of my existence. Paralyzed with fear, I darted between shadows and flickering lights, running, until the image faded into blackness. Another evening came, the same village, darkness thickened by the light of the lanterns. This time, I was accompanied by 3 more distant friends. We headed toward the same bus stop, but the atmosphere felt thicker, saturated with the approaching dread. And then they appeared. 2 enormous birds, like oversized cranes, fashioned into strange, otherworldly creatures. Their bodies were unnaturally slender, their wings spread over 2 meters wide, and their beaks stretched horizontally, sharp as blades, ready to cut through anything. Their silent, piercing gaze cut through the night, as though with cold precision, pointing to my fate. My friends approached them with seeming calmness, so I, though sensing that something was wrong, stepped closer. In an instant, the birds lunged at me, silently, brutally. Their immense beaks shot forward, tearing through the air with the sound of breaking branches. Each strike from these horrifying tools seemed to carve away not just flesh, but soul as well. I fought, struggling against their relentless attack, but an unnatural force made every movement ineffective. Amid the dissolving silhouettes of my friends, who had suddenly disappeared, there remained only the cruel shadows of the birds. And once again, I was swallowed by darkness. The return, the same evening, the same flickering lanterns, the same bus stop. But this time, being alone in this macabre tale had taken on new meaning. I was accompanied only by a friend, neither close nor distant, but I knew it was time to act. Without fear, my senses sharp, I threw myself at the birds with furious determination. For a moment, I seemed to have full control. Their beaks sunk into my hands, but my grip on them was firm. For an instant, it seemed I had won. It felt like I had broken the pattern, as if now I controlled the nightmare. But as soon as I called for help, my friend vanished into the shadows, as if he had never existed, leaving me alone in this fight. And then everything started to unravel. One bird tore itself free from my grasp, and the other, like an unrelenting force of nature, pulled me down. Its enormous beak, sharp as a blade, sliced through my throat, embedding itself in the spot of my jugular. In that split second, with the last ember of struggle, I felt a quiet acceptance of my fate, as if the inevitable, the approaching doom, was silently embraced by my body. My strength drained away, and I fell, torn by pain, unable to scream anymore. And then light, bright, penetrating, and almost blinding, completely different from the dark night that had accompanied me in the village. I found myself in a strange city, on a vast square paved with marble tiles. A crowd of unfamiliar faces, voices in an incomprehensible language, the bustle of everyday life. All of this contrasted with the nightmare I had just left behind. In the very center of the square stood a marble fountain, radiating peace and stillness, as though time slowed here. I approached it and sat down, trying to forget for a moment what had just happened. For a brief moment, everything seemed neutral, bright day, order, indifference of the passers-by. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw him, the same bird, huge, otherworldly, emerging from a space. I didn't wait. I lunged at it, confident, knowing I had control now. My hands gripped it tightly, and I had the upper hand from the start. The situation seemed to belong to me. In this glowing reality, the contrast between my temporary control and the inevitable helplessness was almost palpable. But it didn't last long. Out of nowhere, like a shadow, a hooded figure appeared. Not a monster, not a bird, but a person, perhaps. Without a word, without hesitation, they drove something sharp into my femoral artery. My leg buckled beneath me. The bird broke free. I fell. I bled out on the marble tiles, beside the fountain, in the bright light of day. The world around me continued its course. People laughed, walked by, and passed without a glance, as if I had never been there.